It took me 11 months to write this book, The God Conundrum. Now, I've got to tell you, I didn't set out to write a book. It was simply, for the first few weeks, just a very personal, albeit a sudden and unexpected layman's investigation into whether or not there really is a creator of the universe and therefore a creator of us. I'll put a link to the book with more information about it in the comments section. Anyway, during my research, I found the most seemingly unbelievable but true and scientifically verified pieces of information which really opened up my mind to all sorts of possibilities. One of which, in the early days of my research, whilst I was looking into anything that could be described as supernatural, was the recent scientific discovery of dark matter and dark energy. These are energy forces that are all around us. Incredible stuff. Now, the term supernatural is something that refers to forces or events that really do exist, but cannot be explained by the laws of nature, by man, the laws of science, or any scientist. So I'm now going to give you a simple explanation. The whole book is very simplified, of two supernatural forces, dark matter and dark energy, which are proven to be all around us and without which, get this, we would all die instantly. So science has only recently found that the universe is made up of 95% invisible dark matter and dark energy. But no one knows what dark matter and dark energy truly is. NASA themselves freely admit on their website that they're not sure either, but they have proven that these immensely powerful invisible forces are present all around us. They know this because of the effect the unseen phenomena have on the workings of the universe and therefore us. Dark matter is made up of physical particles, real things, but because these particles somehow do not interact with light, they are completely invisible. It's bonkers. Not even scientific instruments can see them. No other known material has this ability to hide its identity like this. If you didn't know this was true, you'd be forgiven for thinking that dark matter, with its cloak of invisibility capacity, was something straight out of a children's sci-fi comic or a fairy tale even. But although we can't see them, dark matter particles are indispensable to our lives. They act like a gravitational glue, pulling in and holding all the moving universal parts in the form of galaxies, planets, and stars, holding them all together. And the equally mysterious dark energy is a force that pushes and stretches and expands the universe with massive pressure. Now, the two invisible forces, pulling and pushing, have, of course, opposite effects, one pulling and the other pushing away. But rather than destroying one another, as you might imagine, they complement one another because the contradictory powers are so minutely and mathematically tuned that they work in tandem to balance, maintain, and keep the universe stable, rotating in all the right directions and at the right speed, and keeping all the planetary systems accurately distanced from one another. Any variation in the settings on either energy, the tiniest amount, would result in the universe self-destructing. To give you an idea of just how tight the margin of error is on any of this universe stuff, I'll just mention gravity. We all know what gravity, of course, is, but if gravity was represented by a piece of string tied tight, stretching from the Earth to the Sun, a distance of 93 million miles, it would take you, by the way, 20 years of non-stop flying at full speed in a jumbo jet to get there. Gives you an idea of the distance. Anyway, if you touched that tight piece of string and moved it just 1 millimeter, 1 millimetre either side, 1 millimetre out of 93 million miles of string, then gravity would become so unstable and unbalanced that the Earth would destroy itself in floods, collapses, natural disasters beyond imagination, and we'd lose air pressure and oxygen, which would mean we would be crushed and would float off into the universe, and all life would be wiped out instantly. This, by the way, is part of something called the fine-tuning argument for God. I do write about it in the book, but if you want more detailed academic information, you can research this online, and there are multiple books written on just this topic. I cover it in a few pages, but for me, that was enough. If you're interested, go off and research it more deeply. Anyway, what we now know, because of scientific advancements, is that we humans can only see and touch 5% of what is really going on and at work around us. 95% of the universe is made up of mysteriously powerful and invisible forces. Now, don't worry if you don't understand too much of this. You're not alone. Neither do I, and nobody does. But what science does now understand is that the space between us and the planets and the stars that we once thought was just an airless void of nothingness is actually positively pulsating with inexplicably dominant supernatural forces which we can't explain or understand, and without which we would all die. Sounds very dramatic, but it's true. So, with it being an indisputable fact that dark matter and dark energy are real and invisible, would it stretch your imagination too far to believe that they were designed by a creator, designed by a scientific mind billions of years in advance of ours? Could you also consider that there may well be even more powerful and invisible supernatural forces at work either in us or all around us that we have yet to discover or will ever discover? Something I hope you'll agree to at least think about. Thanks for watching.